So there's a moment. This story's not really a spoiler. There's this story. You'll hear me retell it when you pitch a movie with the Undertaker character from wrestling. The Undertaker character from wrestling. Could I pitch an Undertaker movie? Yeah, I could. A motorcycle, guns down a freeway, desert on both sides. They're spreading out on both sides. Nothing, no plants, nothing. Maybe some animal bones. It looks like Looney Tunes. And on that motorcycle is a young man in a vest. And his name is John Bearer. He's fucking driving the motorcycle up. And then the vest is covered in buttons and safety pins. This guy's a punk, a real one, not this fucking Sum 41 shit. This guy was on it in 82. So that means he was at bars, in fights, in San Diego, in San Francisco, getting his fucking jaw broken and doing fucking heroin because that's what you did in the late 70s if you were a punk. This is the real fucking deal. But John Bearer, as we soon realize, actually is a little more complicated than your normal 25-year-old asshole punk scooting around on a motorcycle in the middle of the desert, because with him, he has a medical bag. You see, this guy is actually headed out deep to Death Valley, California, to meet up with his brother, a guy named Paul Bearer, if you can believe that. And Paul Bearer, who is always a creepy, weird guy. Keep in mind, his middle name is Paul. His first name is Ryan, and he chooses to be Paul Bearer. Actually, this guy started working at a funeral home out in the middle of the desert. It's the only mortuary in like 300 miles. Cemeteries are very hard to come by in the desert because the bodies tend to, cook. But out there actually is a social scene, and it's mainly bikers and wrestlers. You have to understand, this is real wrestling, because in this world, wrestling is real. So that means eccentric, violent weirdos of all stripes gather to be paid to fight each other at random at carnival shows. The WWF doesn't exist yet. There's wrestling shows around America, but no interlinked things. And so a lot of dark stuff goes down at these shows. Drug addiction, all sorts of people taking advantage of power in ugly ways. But then there's rumors of other things that go on at the shows too. Darker things. You see, some of the characters who are drawn to this professional wrestling, even though what it really is unlicensed fighting, boxing without rules, where anyone can attack anyone at any time, and signing a contract basically puts your life on waiver. The people who are drawn to this are freaks. These are people from the fringes of society who usually fell out of glory from mainstream sports. These are muscle men with very little brains, or muscle men with very troubled brains. These are people you don't want to be around because they will hurt you. In the ring, you can boo them. But once they come into town on a motorcycle, you should probably keep kayfabe, if you know what I mean. And by that, I mean you keep your fucking mouth shut, unless you want to get sacrificed to the devil by some weirdo with 1 million tattoos. John doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about wrestling. He's there because he has a taxidermy degree. He thought it would be like cool to be like, a fuck you to his parents. His parents were doctors, and one son is now a mortician, the other son is a taxidermist. Parents obsessed with life. Fuck you, mom and dad. Both kids obsessed with death. But he never thought he would be working on human beings until he got addicted to heroin and got the call from Paul. You see, Paul has gotten in with a family called the Callaways. They actually own the biggest house in town. And in Death Valley, you'd think it'd all be trailers, but no, there actually is a colonial Gothic mansion on the fringes of town, painted entirely white. And by that, I mean entirely white. Even the windows. Kind of weird. Out front, they have a cross, but it's not quite normal. The shape is a little off. If you're a wrestling fan, you might recognize it, but you people will just be like, is that Irish Catholic? I'm having fun, guys. I know where it goes now. It's just going to be like trying to get it there in a way that remains interesting for you, right? And I don't want to have to like do every scene because I'm making up as I go along. So whenever I do that, if I have to like make up specific scenes, there's always like a million extra scenes because I like, okay, sorry. So Paul has gotten in with this family called the Callaways, and the Callaways run the funeral home. But the thing is, the Callaways do something really, really weird. They empty the bodies. When bodies are brought into the Callaway mortuary, they are drained completely, like literally no bones. Almost everything is taken out of the body, and then the body is essentially stuffed. Paul, who has always been a creepy, freaky weirdo, this very skinny, weird little guy who hates mom and dad and hates Big Brother John. Oh, I hate you, his weird high voice. He's like really like a creepy sociopath, freaky guy. This guy saw an opportunity. My brother is a taxidermist. You guys are doing this weird stuff to the bodies. He can make them look normal for the funerals. So that's what John has been called out here to do. Paul drops this on him. He thought he was going to be doing like cosmetic work on corpses to make them look normal. He did not know he was going to be stuffing humans, okay? Like literally like a stuffed bear. He has to reconstruct the faces from the inside, and he does 3 of them there the first day before he comes off of the fucking heroin high that has ridden him. The day glow has ridden him from fucking Frisco to fucking Death Valley, and now he realized, wait, I just stuffed 3 people. He loses his shit. Paul, what's going on in this town? Paul explains. The man in the town, the man who owns the mortuary, Marcus Calloway, runs the whole town. And he has kept Paul there for the last 6 years. How? Because Paul, when he was just a little creepy freak moving through town, looking for work, Paul fucked this guy's wife. Yeah. So Marcus Calloway has basically been like, this is the 80s. Paul like has his brother's phone number, but you can't, if you're being like kept in a town by the scary rich mortuary owner with the white voodoo house because you fucked his wife and it seems like he'll kill you if you don't hollow out bodies. You can't like, there's no like, who are you gonna call? Like the fucking Scooby-Doo gang? You're fucked. Me buying time as I think of the next scene. So John's been in a downward spiral. So now he's at this place where he's just fucked over. He's in this shitty little town. Now he's basically also being kept prisoner by Marcus, who, by the way, he still hasn't seen. There hasn't been hide nor hair of this guy. It's all coming from Paul. Our dude John's just like, fuck it. My life doesn't matter anyway. So he goes to this crazy So he goes to this crazy, my brain glitched. So he goes to this crazy biker bar, and it's an outdoor bar basically built out of motorcycles, like stacked 10 tall with then wooden boards over it. And then he realizes what the boards are there for. In the middle, there's a Mexican wrestling ring, except for it's just posts in the ground. They're slamming each other to the dirt. There's no mat. And these guys are jumping 10 feet, slapping onto each other, taking injuries that a human body shouldn't be able to take. Both men are wearing luchador masks that fit tight to their faces. But as the DTs from heroin start to hit John and he begins to feel sicker and sicker and dizzier, he gets too close to the ring and gets a look into the eyes of one of the luchadors and sees that they are glassed over white. He's horrified. And he tries to pull back, but now he's spinning. A man takes him out into the parking lot and goes, son, are you all right? I'm back in it, baby. What the fuck does this have to do with the WWE? Some of you have already figured it out. For the rest of you, it's going to remain a mystery through the end of the Alan Watts story. People just clicking out. Unlike. Okay.